Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a white paper that tackles, well, the new front line of global conflict. We're talking about the war for our minds.
All right, let's get right into it. For centuries, a nation's strength was all about things you could see and touch, right? Warships, fighter jets, missile silos. But that whole idea of power and sovereignty, it's changing, and it's changing fast. Today's contest isn't just about physical might anymore. It's about who controls the code, the algorithms, and, most importantly, the stories they tell.
And that brings us to the first big idea here. The battlefield itself has moved. It's no longer just in physical space. It's shifted into what this paper calls the cognitive domain. Yeah, the fight has literally moved from cities and fields right onto our screens and into our minds.
This quote from the paper really just nails it. Sovereignty is contested in terrain that cannot be photographed from a satellite. Think about that. The most important battles today leave no physical trace. They're totally invisible, playing out in the streams of information that literally shape what we all believe is true.
So what exactly is information warfare? Well, it's way more than just propaganda. The paper defines it as this: orchestrated effort to use information as both a weapon and a target. The real goal here: to destabilize societies, to fracture alliances, and just erode trust by messing with the very fabric of our perception. It's about attacking the glue that holds the society together.
Okay, so how is this war actually fought? Well, adversaries have this whole new arsenal of deception. We're talking about a whole spectrum of really sophisticated tools, and every single one is designed to exploit our trust and our attention.
And look, this isn't just one single tactic. It's a full-on, multi-front assault. You've got disinformation and deepfakes on an industrial scale. AI-generated videos that make it almost impossible to believe what you're seeing. Then there are coordinated cyber operations, media manipulation, even agile mimetic warfare. Yeah, viral memes that can spread a whole narrative in literally minutes.
And this stuff isn't just theory, okay? This is happening right now, in the wild. And the paper gives us a couple of really powerful case studies that show how these digital attacks have very real, very physical consequences. So first up, let's look at a campaign called Operation Doppelganger. This is a perfect example of the scale and, honestly, the subtlety of these ops. What they did was create hundreds of fake news sites that were designed to perfectly mimic trusted outlets like The Guardian or Le Monde.
And the playbook for this is just brilliant in a sinister way. Step 1, mimic those trusted sites perfectly. Step 2, pump out fabricated, really divisive stories. Step 3, amplify them with bot networks. But here's the kicker, Step 4, the goal. The point wasn't necessarily to make you believe one specific fake story. No. The real goal was to pollute the entire information environment with doubt, to make you doubt every story. Because if anything to be fake, then maybe nothing is true.
Okay, but it gets even more serious. The next case study shows how this digital stuff spills over into the physical world, and the consequences can be devastating.
So take a look at this timeline. In early 2024, vulnerable people were being recruited on Telegram channels. By the middle of the year, that online activity led to an arson attack at a UK warehouse, a warehouse storing aid for Ukraine. And later, it was identified as part of a broader strategy aligned with the GRU. This is a chilling example of how an app on your phone can become a pipeline for real-world sabotage.
So all of this begs a really important question, right? How does a nation even begin to defend itself against the threat that's basically invisible? Well, in the UK, the response has been to start building up some serious digital defenses, new laws, new institutions.
And you can see the policy response right here. Over the past few years, we've seen a whole raft of changes. You've got the National Security Act of 2023, which brought in new laws for foreign interference. The Strategic Defense Review in 2025 explicitly named information as a core domain of war. And then you have new organizations like the National Cyber Force and the Cyber and Electromagnetic Command. It's a clear signal that information is now seen as just as critical as land, sea, and air.
But is all this policy enough? The paper makes a pretty strong argument that while all these things are absolutely vital first steps, there's still a huge piece of the puzzle missing.
And what is that missing piece? It's a sovereign industrial base. It's the ability to actually build and control the tools you need to fight back. Because without UK-owned technology, the actual software, the platforms, the country risks having to outsource its own defense to foreign companies. And their priorities, well, they might not always line up with yours.
And this is where we get to the absolute heart of the white paper's argument, the sovereignty question. It's this call for true, genuine digital sovereignty. The paper makes this really sharp distinction between what it calls slogan sovereignty and substance sovereignty. Slogan sovereignty, that's the easy stuff. It's measured in office postcodes and local jobs. But substance sovereignty, that's what really matters. That's measured in owning your own intellectual property, controlling the development of your tools, and having the freedom to act without needing permission from some foreign power.
So the choice is pretty stark, isn't it? You either outsource the defense of your own cognitive domain, or you build the capability to defend it yourself. It really comes down to whether a nation has the freedom to act without having to ask a foreign tech company for permission first.
And that really leaves us with a final, crucial question to think about. In this war for our minds, who do you trust to build the shield? It's something to consider as we all try to navigate this incredibly complex, information-saturated world we live in.